Hey everybody, good morning. Welcome back to chapter 22 of World History. This is the chapter all about World War II. And this chapter could last for a whole entire semester. There is so much content and information, and it's a very fascinating time in world history to talk about. So just know going into it that this chapter is more of an overview. It's like we're hovering 40,000 feet above the ground and we're flying by. And so we won't be able to go into a huge amount of detail on everything that I wish we could. But you'll get to learn a few new things hopefully along the way. So let me go ahead and share my screen here with y'all. And let's open up the slides for today. All right, here we go. So chapter 22, this first section is called Global Tensions, and it's going to cover pages 491, 492, 493. So kind of the first part of the chapter, and then we'll have a second video where we get into Hitler and kind of how he was challenging the other leaders of Europe. So diving back in, dictators defy the League of Nations. So just know that after World War I, world leaders came together and met to organize a League of Nations. They hoped that this new league could help stop any types of military aggression and basically kind of help maintain peace. Peace and security kind of were the two big things people wanted. So during the 1930s, however, Italy, Japan, and Germany began to threaten world peace. Mussolini in Italy, Hitler in Germany, the different leaders in Japan. So war became an accepted and, in their opinion, a legitimate means of achieving their personal as well as their national goals. So the League of Nations made a few feeble attempts to stop them, but it really didn't do what it needed to, I guess. All right, so Japanese expansion in Asia. So when Japan's civilian government collapsed back in the 1930s, a military clique or kind of this exclusive elitist group basically came in and took over. They embarked on this program of expansion. They wanted to develop their industry. They wanted to modernize their military force. They wanted more land. They had this plan that they were carrying out. Okay, so how did they go about that? Well, in 1931, they seized the province of Manchuria, one of their neighbors. In 1937, they invaded China and captured some valuable economic resources. And so the League of Nations basically said, no, 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 shame on you, you shouldn't do this, and condemned their actions. But that didn't really get their attention or stop them. All right, in Italy, you might recognize that guy down there. Mussolini wanted to recreate this greatness of the Roman Empire. And so he embarked on his own plan to do that. In 1935, he went across the Mediterranean and conquered Ethiopia. And the League of Nations saw what was happening, but they weren't willing to use force to stop him at this point. And so what they did instead was they imposed economic sanctions on Italy. So basically forbidding members of the League from selling certain materials, certain items to Italy. And they thought that maybe these economic sanctions might kind of get their attention, but really it did little to slow down Mussolini's war effort because these sanctions didn't include things like oil, which fueled Mussolini's tanks, didn't include planes or motorized vehicles. And so basically Mussolini defied the efforts of the League to halt his invasion of Ethiopia. And he went after Albania later in 1939. So the League was not very effective in stopping him. Okay, like I said, it did not include oil or other war materials. All right, moving on to Germany. So you can see a little political cartoon down there. Hitler basically wants more room, more living room, okay, for his people. So Hitler laid the foundation for his new German Empire, the Third Reich. Your book talks about how there were different Reichs or empires or kingdoms throughout Germany. So Otto the Great had established the first one back in 962. Later, Otto von Bismarck helped unify Germany, creating the Second German Empire from 1871 to 1918. So that's kind of the Second Reich. And then Hitler created what he called the Third Reich, and he declared that it would last for 1,000 years. However, we know that it only lasted for 12 years, so 1933 to 1945. So again, Hitler wanted to provide his people with Lebensraum, or more living space. So he went about that in some different ways. He decided, you know what, I don't want to be part of this League of Nations. I don't want people telling me what to do or how to live my life. And so he left the League, and then he ordered his troops into the Rhineland, which was supposed to be this neutral area. After the treaties of World War I, this was to remain a military-free zone, but he ignored that and sent his troops into that area. So he's kind of up to something, okay? You can see where he's headed. So no one really tried to stop him at this point, okay? France was angry, obviously. Not too thrilled about this, but they didn't take any action. The League, once again, couldn't really prevent or solve this crisis. And so Hitler was like, okay, well, if I can get away with this, what else can I get away with? So that wraps up this short little section. We'll get going on some more stuff in this next section, but for the homework for today, which is Friday, May 1st, I'm asking you to kind of think about what are at least 6 key events that are happening that are leading up to World War II. Okay? Could be things that we talked about from this section or things that you've read in other places, but in your own words, in a detailed paragraph, please respond with that. I'll put a document linked in the assignment for you to respond. So that is it for this section. We'll be back in a little bit for section 2.